Hey there, hey, this is Michelle with Brilliant Quest, and today I want to talk to you about how to find your sweet spot. And when I'm talking about your sweet spot, I'm talking about your sweet spot for your purpose for living. Today's world is just as complex as any other time. And I just really want to say this before we get going that we're in the best of times and we're in the worst of times. Shout out to Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. Yes, I remember my literature. So, anyway, how to find your sweet spot. I did a video about purpose and passion and how what passion's purpose is for finding your purpose. And this is maybe like a part two, but it can stand alone. And that is, I wanted to talk about your sweet spot because your sweet spot is a moving target. And if you don't know how to find it, it's going to be a problem. You're going to find that you have ebbs and lows in your life where you're up and then you're down. And you're not like Cardi B says, and it's up and it's up and it's up. So finding your sweet spot is actually a skill that once you understand it, you're going to be better able to navigate and understand the times. In Sun Tzu's The Art of War, I have to slow down because I always mix it with Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art. Okay. In Sun Tzu's The Art of War, he talks about some of the things that great masterminds and generals understand. And one of them he talks about is understanding your personal season. And the first time I read that, I was actually in my MBA program and it was assigned. And I had heard about the book, but I had never read it. And I read it. And because I was in the context of getting this advanced business degree, I made assumptions about it. And I'm going to do a video about assumptions because it's a powerful lesson. And when I was looking at understanding your seasons, I was thinking that understanding your seasons meant understanding like lifespan development. Like at the time I'm in my 20s and I'm doing this and I'm building and blah, 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 and all of that. And yes, on the surface, that's what we call that low hanging fruit, that first obvious basic understanding. And I have a video where I talk about how to understand the different types of problems. And our first go-to is a basic problem. It's a problem where it has a recipe 1, 2, 3, where if you follow certain steps, you can solve it. You can tell that you're in a basic problem because it has a lot of examples. You can look at other people's lives or what they've done and get similar results. But what Sun Tzu was talking about more so was not even a complicated problem, which is the next level of problems. He was talking about the third level, which is a complex problem. And the complex problem is a problem where you've already started to do the complicated work of shoring up your understanding, of testing out your theories and hypotheses about how to solve this problem. And the complex problem requires you to get outside help, whether it be more education, whether it be consulting people, developing your own little mastermind or your committee to help you, your own wise counsel. And so complex problems don't have one solution. And a lot of times they require a mixture of solutions. And what Sun Tzu was talking about in there was finding your sweet spot. And because a sweet spot is a complex thing, it's a moving target, you're not going to be able to just say, oh, this is me, and make this statement that, oh, this is my sweet spot. So here is how, at this particular time, I'm going to tell you to do it. Because, of course, you guessed it, with something complex, you're going to have to practice, build some muscle and that type of thing, okay? So the way I do this is, for me, one of the best things I found was using a Harry Potter concept of the sorting hat. So I don't know if you're familiar with it, or not. So please forgive if I'm, describing this. But the quick of it is, when Harry goes off to school in their first year, at their opening orientation dinner, they come up and they get sorted into the 4 different houses. And this hat sits on top of your head. And it talks while it's thinking through, because it's sifting through your thoughts and your feelings about yourself. And sometimes it will tell your business out loud, in not a flattering light. And then finally, the sorting house will say, you're in Gryffindor, you're in Ravenclaw, all of these different houses that they have, Slytherin. And with Harry, it got to where it was like, and it said, well, I'm paraphrasing, you could go into Slytherin. And at that time, Harry's like, please, 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 no, 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 no. He doesn't want to go to Slytherin. And then the hat says, but then we'll put you in Gryffindor, right? And when I watched that 20 plus years ago, and I had already read the book, I was just like, wow. The hat, it had to be a sorting hat so it could get to the true essence of who we are, knowing who we are. And that stuck with me because we are tethered, if you will. We have a tether up top and a tether down on our feet. And this tether keeps us tethered to the original source. Let me put my pen down so it's not distracting you guys. It puts us to the original source. And then the tether that our feet have, it puts us tethered to this ground, to Mother Nature. And so the mystics used to talk about the God of heavens and the Mother of earth. And this sorting hat is kind of like running interference to see, where do I put you? And understanding this helps us to get to the first part of understanding how do we sort through to figure out what our sweet spot is in that season. Because remember, Sun Tzu said the most successful understand their personal seasons. So as I, marinated on what Sun Tzu said in that book over the years, my understanding of sweet spots, of understanding your seasons kind of evolved. And I I'm very thankful that I write fiction as well and fantasy and all those different things because it causes me to continuously learn different things. And so I had this season that I'm going to return to where I studied great military strategies, strategists, tacticians, and all of this. And one of the things that I never would have put this with understanding your season, but that's what happened because I have a synthesizer mind, was this Chinese strategy, Asian strategy, and it's called slow, slow, quick, quick. Slow, slow, quick, quick. Now, let me tell you how that works and how that ties into the sorting and how that ties into, finding your sweet spot. Okay. With slow, slow, quick, quick, it sounds like a tango dance step, but what it was or is in the two slows, you are there to slow down. Now, in the military context, it involves deceit. It does. It involves you making your enemy think that you are weaker than you are, or if you really are weak, making your enemy think that you are more powerful than you are. You can Google it. But for the purpose of what we're doing, and understanding, our passion sorting, our sorting hat for life and the sweet spot, you're going to discover by doing these slow, slow, quick, quicks, you're going to discover how to make your next move. Have you ever been stumped as to what to do next? You feel like if you make the wrong choice, it's going to be bad. Well, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be bad. It might just take you longer. And with slow, slow, quick, quick, what I discovered was this. When you're trying to find your sweet spot, embedded in understanding your season, which is your sweet spot, is failure. Now, slow, slow, quick, quick, from this military understanding is set up so that when you fail, you don't fail fast. And when I say fast, I mean fatally. You don't fail to the point of defeat. And that was a big eye opener for me. You see, Sun Tzu, he understood the process of success and failure and defeat. And I did not realize until studying this and seeing how it applied, and even the Harry Potter sorting hat, and like, oh, okay, because if you know the Harry Potter story, he had a lot of defeats, a lot. Folks died that he loved. He had a lot of defeats. But understanding slow, slow, quick, quick will help you to understand that those failures are necessary. So when you're going slow, this is the time when you're giving yourself a lot of grace. This is the time when you're getting a chance to understand your surroundings, understand who you are in those surroundings. Because in the military context, this is when your generals and your lieutenants and even your foot soldiers, they gather intel. That's why they have scouts that go out and they're moving slowly. So, and this is the first slow. They're moving slowly so that they can get a true assessment of where they are. When you're in your sweet spot, 9 times out of 10, it is because you took the time to slow down and get a true and proper understanding of where you are. It's one thing to be and this is an example. It's one thing to be in the house where it's 75 degrees and the sun is shining and you run outside with clothes that you would wear in 75-degree weather, and you get outside and it's actually 30 degrees. You cannot fight against the weather. And that's because you aren't slow in observing. Does the outside match like the inside? Can I check a weather forecast or stick my hand out real quick? That's when you are doing the slow part. And so many people don't understand that there's a time when you lay low. There's a time when you retreat. You're not all up on social media doing stuff. You are taking it slow. You are reassessing what you're dealing with. The second slow. And this is the one that, this is so good. With the second slow of the slow, slow, quick, quick. The second slow is where you start to strategize. Now, I talked about in another video the pain of purpose. And in this slow part, this is when you are doing your training. You're developing your rules and your rituals and everything. And there's a saying that says, instead of choosing from a lot of decisions and choices, turn it into a rule and don't break the rule. And in this slow part, this is where you start understanding who do I need to be? What do I need to do? And what do I need to have in this particular time so that I can move successfully? And like I said before, it takes some discipline because they have a name for it. And I didn't put it in my notes, but it just came up to me. And the name for this season is called monk mode. This is when you go monk mode. So that first slow is reconnaissance. It's understanding, research maybe. It's gathering all of your ducks, looking and seeing what you have. Then the second season is monk mode. And once you do these two slows, then comes the quick quick. Now, you would think the quick quick is going to be easy peasy and it's going to be where we get the reward. The quick quick is where you are now going to be using high expenditures of mental, emotional, and physical energy. Because that first quick is the shot fired. It is the beginning. It is, if you're looking at the military, it's them running down the hill and, in Braveheart, rah, and about to engage the enemy. It is burning through the resources and all the things that you have stocked up in this first time of slow, slow, quick, quick. And what does this have to do with your sweet spot? This is the beginning of the actual the fruition of your sweet spot. This is where it's activated. This is where you move and flow. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi wrote the book Flow, and it talks about how people can do advanced things and they can just do it for hours. And everybody wants to get in flow, but they don't understand that flow is the first fast of the slow, slow, quick, quick. You see, these people have gone to school or whatever it is, or become very proficient in what they do. Then they've gone monk mode to practice getting even more proficient and even masterful in it. And then when you're seeing them in flow, doing these highly complex things, creating, crafting, thinking, inventing, whatever it is, running, whatever it is, when you see that first fast, you are seeing them expend a lot of energy, or for my gamers out there, a lot of mana. And the reason why they're able to do it is because of the slow, slow that has propelled them for this first fast. Okay. The next fast is quickly becoming adaptable to be able to get back into a slow, slow. Have you ever seen somebody run really, really fast? Or let's take a car. A car is accelerating really, really fast, and then they run out of gas. The de-acceleration is fast, or they have to stop fast. It still takes some time to stop fast. So that last fast is getting them to become adaptable to the next season or the next momentum that they need to build up. There are a lot of M words that people use, and in my world of the mental and neuroplasticity, a lot of times people talk about our ability to mentally adapt to change. And we as humans, for the most part, we suck at it. And it talks about this statement to understand if you have a poor mentality. And this is how it goes. It says that if you have you can tell how poor your mentality is by how quick you are to take action or stop action. And with this sweet spot, when you get into that first fast, that's like I said, that's the fruition of your sweet spot. But it's not the only part, because most people would always want to just stay right here, and they think they can just hop into it. You can't. So this is how you do it. You understand that if you're Harry Potter, you don't have to choose. You can have different houses, different seasons. And I want people to stop just sitting on this. I'm good at this. This is who I am. Because maybe for a long time, you've been running on fumes, trying to keep propelling yourself. And in this part of the slow, slow, fast, fast, where you're only wanting to be in that first fast. And you can't understand why the fire is going. Why have I lost my mojo? And all of these things. It's because of this. So let me just, recap all of this, because I really wanted to conversate with you so you can understand how to find your sweet spot. Because finding your sweet spot is not just about finding it. It's also about properly managing it. When you look at these M words I talked about, movement, momentum, maintenance, we don't necessarily give the movement, momentum, and maintenance enough respect that we should, because you can only move and gain momentum for as much as you're able to maintain the entire process. I used to think maintenance was simply for keeping something going. No, maintenance is for keeping your system tight and right. And you know what? I could keep going on. I am going to say this one. Okay, I am going to say this one. You could be like, Michelle's all over the place, but I really want you to get this. So, product obsolescence. In 1955, Life magazine had one singular article that talked about product obsolescence. And this was the turning point for people understanding maintenance. Prior to this article, because this is the only one we have, because everybody wants to pretend like it's not real, but it's real. Prior to, manufacturers, vendors, whatever you want to call it, inventors, they made things to last. And when they put out the maintenance manuals of stuff, they made sure to tell you the things that you would need to keep it in its sweet spot for the longest amount of time. And so that's why you had slow innovations of styles in the way things were. That's why people's homes and cars look the same for many, 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 many years. They didn't have different models. They had maintenance. And so prior to this, maintenance was always about trying to keep things in their sweet spot. Now, I could vilify people and say, oh, they did this because they were greedy. And yes, they were. They were greedy, but they also had another problem. People weren't trained to understand what maintenance really is. They didn't understand that there are certain things called optimal performance, and that's sweet spot. And so manufacturers were like, these people are holding on to 40-year-old things that's not their usual lifespan. And so because of that, they were like, not only do we need people to continue to buy our stuff, because we can't wait for another sale for 40 years, we need to put in product obsolescence. We need to make these products where they have a natural life cycle, and people start to learn that you need to replace this product or this machine, because a lot of it was machinery because it was the industrial age. And, machines, they are made to have an end of life. They can't go on forever and ever. So they started doing things like using the word optimal performance. And in their manuals, they started talking about the lifespan of. Now, you would think that we would be smarter than the people who thought that a product could live forever when we don't even live forever. And so out of this, we started learning what sweet spot is. We started learning what optimal is. And by just taking an understanding that maintenance changed from trying to keep something in optimal performance well past its lifetime, basically creating a freaking zombie, understand that everything has its season. Sun Tzu said that the greatest generals, the most powerful people, understand their seasons. And another thing about seasons is a cycle. You can call it a lifespan. I already told you, one of the greatest military is simple, but it is fierce. Slow, slow, quick, quick. Slow, slow, quick, quick. Didn't I tell you? Slow, slow, quick, quick. It sounds like a waltz or tango or whatever. But understanding that, you are going to be able to understand and find your sweet spots for your different seasons. Sometimes you're going to figure out that, oh, I'm trying to push to be in the fruition of my sweet spot when I'm supposed to be in monk mode. I've moved from reconnaissance gathering and gathering resources, and I'm trying to hit it, and I don't have the mettle to do what is required. Think about it. There are times you want to do something and it's raggedy no matter how you try. It's because you skipped over the second slow, and now you're trying to be in fast. It's not working, and you're trying to stay there. No, 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 no. And so that is something that I think that we are all capable of doing. Think about it. We can take the wisdom that Sun Tzu gave us and apply it to our lives to find our mojo. So like I say, mojo, if you're missing that spark, if you're feeling like, I don't do this as well as I used to, you're probably out of season, and it is time for you to find your cycle. Where are you well, if you're out of season, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna just tell you, the best thing is to just start from the beginning. Slow, slow, quick, quick, And Harry Potter, I know you thought I forgot about that. One of the things that my takeaway is that he could be in Slytherin. He didn't want to be, because instinctively he's thinking, oh, it's a bad thing. But he wasn't ready to be in House Slytherin, because to be in House Slytherin, you have to be cunning. You have to be able to not only think about yourself, but be so good that you know what other people are going to do and route them off at the pass. That is why Snape was able to do what he did to Dumbledore and to him, because he was House Slytherin, and Harry was not ready for that. So just because you're able to see the different paths that you can go, learn to do the slow, slow, because that is going to help you to figure out and prioritize which one I need to focus on right now. Which season am I in? And be willing to endure the second slow, which is the monk mode, which allows you to gather up that energy. Because when you get into that first fast, that's sweet spot. That's where you're in the flow. That is where you are expending a lot of energy at a high level of performance. And then that last fast is a transition of adaptability to get you ready to go back. Don't ignore that, because your sweet spot for the next season depends on you making that proper transition. Because if you don't, you won't be able to find your mojo. You won't be able to find your secret sauce. You won't be able to find your place. And so guess what? My time is up. I thank you for yours. This has been Michelle, your big sis with Brilliant Quest. Bye.